Welcome back, everybody, to the NCAA Next Up Dynasty here on NCAA Football 14 as we watch the stars of tomorrow competing in the 2023 college football season. And today we've got ourselves a really fun episode as we're going to go through all of the conference championship games. With the 12-team college football playoff, the conference championships are more important than ever, and we'll have 6 playoff spots clinched by the end of today's video. So how it's going to go is the winners of the 5 Power 5 conference championships will automatically get a bid into the college football playoff, and then the highest ranked Group 5 conference champion will also get an automatic bid into the playoff as well. So we will have 6 of the 12 college football playoff spots clinched in today's video. The next video is going to be where you guys will be able to vote for the other teams to get into the playoff along with all of the big-time awards, such as the Heisman Trophy, so make sure to stay tuned for that. But as we go into the conference championship games today, we've got some really big-time matchups, and we'll be watching all of these games very closely to see which players can make some noise in the Heisman watch, and, well, obviously, who will be getting an at-large spot into the playoff. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road. We'll be starting off with the SEC championship between Oklahoma and Kentucky. Both of these teams come into this game with 3 losses, and I would have to imagine the loser will not get voted in for one of the at-large bids. So pretty much the winner of this game is going to the college football playoff, and the loser will not get into the playoff. So the stakes are unbelievably high here between these two schools, who both come into this game with very different but interesting stories. Oklahoma's got some unfinished business. They nearly won the SEC championship last year against Georgia. If they won that game, not only would they have gotten into the playoff, but I think they would have been the overall favorite to win it. They've got some talent on this football team. Of course, quarterback Romeo Colucci leading the way. He has really developed each week throughout the year. His progression and improvement has been very notable. They've got some good weapons on offense, including running back Darion Seals, and then wide receiver Bryce Berry III, who will likely be a first-round pick in this upcoming NFL draft. They've got one of the better offensive lines in the conference, and their defense has a lot of talent as well. Gilbert Smith, Rashawn Russell, and Udo Afolabi will all be highly drafted players in this upcoming NFL draft. As for Kentucky, they looked like one of the favorites to make the playoff for most of the season, winning 9 of their first 10 games, but it has gone quickly downhill. They've lost 2 in a row, and if they lose another game late here, they're probably not going to get in, which is crazy because for most of the season, they looked like a lock to get in. They're led by senior quarterback Isaiah Gordon, who's a really, really good player. Their offense has consistently been great this year, but their defense has failed them, and it's costed them these last 2 games. They've got a really good back end, but their front unit is one of the softer units in college football. They have the 96th ranked run defense, and Oklahoma knows how to run the ball. The Sooners are 8th in total yards per game, so I'm really curious to see how Kentucky's defense will be able to respond with super high stakes like this. The Sooners are the slight favorite going into this game, but certainly not overwhelmingly so. I could certainly see Kentucky bouncing back. The Wildcats looked like the best team in the SEC for most of the year. So Kentucky has the ball here early with a 3rd and 13, trying to strike first. Gordon hands it off to the freshman, Fadi Al-Cisse, and he loses 7. Buck Ratliff brings him down. So it's a 4th and 26. The Wildcats were called for a false start, forcing them to move back 5 yards. Still going to try a long field goal from 57, and it is no good from the All-American kicker, Carlos Nguyen. It looked like he had the distance, but it was just wide to the right. So Oklahoma has it. 2nd and 2. Romeo Colucci breaks a tackle, and Colucci is gone! The Oklahoma Sooners are on the board with a 51-yard touchdown from the quarterback, Colucci. Romeo Colucci can scramble, but he's not a great runner. Yet on that play, it looked effortless. So it's 7-0, Kentucky trying to respond. Here's Fadi Al-Cisse with nobody in front of him, and he gets a touchdown of his own to tie it at 7. Good response from Kentucky, and now Oklahoma has it back. Romeo Colucci's not throwing the ball very well so far. He's 2 for 6, but he is running it quite well as he keeps it on the option. Colucci, again, with blocks, breaking tackles all the way to the 33. I told you, Kentucky's front unit looks soft. so far. Romeo Colucci is having a field day. Darion Seals looking to get in on the fun as he breaks a tackle and takes it the distance for a 34-yard touchdown. Kentucky's run defense could not stop a nosebleed right now, so Seals gets on the board, and it is 14-7. Oklahoma with it back. Romeo Colucci keeps it again. Colucci breaks another tackle, and he might take it all the way again. Not quite. Wrapped up inside the 10. A gain of 34 for Colucci, who already has over 100 rushing yards on 3 carries. And then to start the second quarter, it's Darion Seals who walks into the end zone for his second touchdown of the game, making it 21-7. Kentucky has it on the goal line. They're trying to make it a one-score game. It's a screen for Cisse, but the pass is incomplete. Udo Afolabi, the projected first-round defensive tackle, with the pressure, forcing Kentucky to kick a field goal, making it 21-10. Kentucky's defense has really got to show something here. Their pass defense has been very good, but they can't stop the run at all. Well, when Oklahoma's going to go to throw it, Kentucky makes a play. Jazz Cunningham Jr. with a pick 6. And this game just got interesting. Kentucky might have put themselves back in it with a huge defensive touchdown. As well as Colucci has ran it today, he's really not throwing the ball well. The same can be said with Isaiah Gordon, who tries to scramble out of pressure, but is sacked by Udo Afolabi, who has been a force in the interior today. Gordon scrambling, and he loses the ball. Buck Ratliff forces it away, and it's picked up by the Sooners. I think that was Rayshon Russell who recovered it. So Kentucky's defense gets a huge turnover, and Oklahoma responds. Isaiah Gordon really not playing all that well right now. He's supposed to be a first-round pick. So Oklahoma has it back. They would do nothing on offense as Colucci's pass is broken up, and Kentucky gets the football back, looking to take the lead on 3rd and 15. It's a screen for Fadiala Cisse with blocks. Cisse down the field, and he is going to be tackled in the end zone. A 45-yard touchdown. Fadiala Cisse, the redshirt freshman running back, is carrying the offense right now. And Kentucky, with 17 unanswered, takes the lead. Oklahoma looking to respond. Bryce Barry with a nice play. The Sooners would drive down the field. They'll tack on 3. Low kick, but it does fall. And it is now 24-24 going into halftime. It's been a really weird game so far. These are supposed to be 2 really good passing games, but it's the rushing attack that's been the more dominant force for both of these offenses. Oklahoma with the rock, 2nd and 2. Colucci keeps it himself. Romeo Colucci with a lot of room to work. Still on his feet, breaks a tackle, and is brought down at the 30. Again, Romeo Colucci's not a bad scrambler, but he just doesn't really use his legs a whole lot, well, I guess until today. 2nd and goal now. Oklahoma looking to take the lead. Colucci calls for an audible, looks to throw it, and it is caught in the back of the end zone by the likely first-rounder, Bryce Barry III. 31-24. Kentucky looking to respond. Here's a big run. Breaking tackles is for quarterback Isaiah Gordon, who gets 28. Now Kentucky has it on the goal line, looking to tie it up here late in the 3rd, and they'll do just that. Fadiala Cisse makes another play, his 3rd all-purpose touchdown of the game. 31-31. Oklahoma has it back as Seals trucks a defender, breaking tackles. Darion Seals and Romeo Colucci are running all over this defense right now. I told you, Kentucky's front unit was soft, and they've been soft all game up front. The Sooners would be stopped. They're going to have to try a field goal, but the kick is no good. So the Kentucky defense is able to make a stand as it's 31-31 here going into the 4th quarter. Oklahoma with the football back after a defensive stop of their own. Look at Seals go. He will not get tackled easily. Brought down after a big run. Darion Seals has been the best player on the field tonight, and if not him, Romeo Colucci is not too far behind. A 26-yard touchdown for the junior quarterback, and the Sooners are back ahead 38-31. Kentucky's defense is really not playing like there's a college football playoff spot on the line. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why not keep going in the ground game? This time, it's Darion Seals who might have just sealed Oklahoma's spot in the playoff. A 69-yard touchdown run, and now Kentucky's got some damage control to do. Gordon is sacked on 2nd down, losing around 5. I think that was Rashawn Russell who made the play. Gilbert Smith in the backfield as well. Kentucky would surprisingly elect to punt it. I feel like that's a little bit of a dumb call. And Oklahoma's going to put the nail in the coffin as Kalochi runs for his third rushing touchdown of the game. What a great job by Kalochi to adapt. When he wasn't throwing the ball well, he turns to his legs and it paid off. If you want a dagger from the defense, there you go. Lee James picks off Isaiah Gordon, and this game is over. Oklahoma is the first team to officially punch their ticket into the college football playoff as they win this game 52-31, outscoring Kentucky 21-0 in the fourth quarter. Both passing games, who are two of the best passing offenses in the SEC, really were not great today. Isaiah Gordon was not all that impressive throwing the ball, so it was really about which offense was able to adapt, and I think both were able to do that. Fadiala Cisse, the running back from Kentucky, just a redshirt freshman, he wasn't even supposed to start this year, but he's having himself a really good year, and today, well, he was obviously great with 250 all-purpose yards and 3 touchdowns. The problem is Kentucky's defense. They just were horrible. They were a train wreck up front. I told you that was their weakness going into this game, and that's why they lost. Romeo Kalochi, not his best day throwing the football, but he didn't need to throw it well because Oklahoma ran for nearly 550 yards. Darian Seals and Romeo Kalochi both dominated. They each ran for 3 scores. I mean, my goodness. And then Oklahoma's defense, not necessarily outstanding, but they did more than enough to win the game. So Oklahoma's going to the college football playoff. Will Middle Tennessee State join them as we get to our second game of the day, the American Athletic Championship? This is not a Power 5 conference, keep in mind, but the highest-ranked Group 5 team will get an automatic bid into the college football playoff. And, well, currently that is Middle Tennessee State. They're 11-1. They're the only Group 5 team with at least 11 wins. So, in essence, if they win this game, they will be back in the playoff for a second straight season. Their opponent is the 8-4 SMU Mustangs, who have had a pretty good season. They lost a close game to TCU earlier in the year. They've been a little bit spotty these past couple of weeks, but they've won 2 in a row, trying to see what they can do here against Middle Tennessee State, led by freshman quarterback Uman Volpe and junior running back Preston Garrett. They've got a talented offense, but I think the defense is really the strength of this team. Inside linebacker Osmond Cheatwood looks like a possible NFL draft pick within the next few years, and they've got a really good secondary as well. As for Middle Tennessee State, this is a team who made the college football playoff last year, losing in the semifinal to the eventual national champion Georgia Bulldogs, and they've had some unfinished business, going 11-1 this year, despite some changes, particularly at the quarterback position with Drain Ignatius, who did more than a fine job throwing the football this year. Nehemiah Dalton leads the receiving corps, but again with these guys, it's the defense who's really the standout unit. They've got some studs here: Ezekiel Uwazurike, Justin Kaplan, Jamison Gray, amongst others. So I think SMU could give Middle Tennessee State a run for their money, but the Blue Raiders are certainly the heavy favorite in this game, as shown by the pick'em. If Middle Tennessee State loses this game, they could still get in with an at-large spot, so I think some of the teams on the bubble, like Georgia, Notre Dame, and Florida State, who are hoping to get those at-large spots, are really hoping Middle Tennessee State wins today. That means there's going to be an extra at-large spot when it's all said and done. So let's see how this game goes here. SMU with the football. Uman Volpe, the freshman, looking to truck the defender. What a move. Volpe's a big, physical guy, and he's had his ups and downs. He's thrown 17 interceptions this year, but I think SMU has a bright future with him at quarterback as the Mustangs strike first with a field goal, and they take a 3-0 lead. Let's see what the Middle Tennessee State offense can do. They're a very balanced unit. They've got a really solid pass game featuring Nehemiah Dalton. He's got nobody in front of him. He breaks a tackle, and he is gone. 83 yards from Drain Ignatius to Nehemiah Dalton. The big weakness with Dalton's game is his speed, and, well, he didn't look overly fast on that play, but he gives you everything else you look for at the wide receiver position, and he'll be playing on Sundays next year in the NFL. So this is an interesting sequence. SMU drives down the field. They have a 3rd and 2 on the goal line. Uman Volpe is stopped shy of the end zone. A big play by Joshua Thompson. So it's 4th and 2 on the goal line. I feel like if you're SMU, what do you have to lose in this game? Why not try to be aggressive and go for it? That's not what they're going to do. Instead, they're going to kick a field goal. I really don't agree with this call at all. I would have liked to have seen them gone for it. They don't have as much to play for, so why not try to get a little crazy with it? Middle Tennessee State has it back. They're moving down the field, and they would ultimately get stopped on the goal line as well as Ignatius misfires for his target in the corner of the end zone. So Middle Tennessee State will have to take a field goal as well, as it is 10-6 early here in the second quarter. So far, SMU has given these guys a tough battle. The Mustangs don't look too bad. Following Middle Tennessee possession, 3rd and inches. Here's Ignatius with a juke move. Drain Ignatius with a big run. He's pretty mobile. Very well-rounded quarterback. Another guy who's a first-year starter but has really improved throughout the season. 1st and goal. Handoff to the junior running back, Barrington Britt, who smothers a defender and is in for a touchdown. Barrington Britt, one of the key returners from last year's team. He's only a junior, so he'll probably be back next year as Middle Tennessee State now leads 17-6. 3rd and 7. Volpe is sacked for a loss of 8. Wrapped up on the play by one of the defensive linemen for the Blue Raiders, who are looking to make this a 3-score game late in the first half. On 1st down, Ignatius takes a shot downfield, and it's hauled in by the stud senior Matt Burnett, who gets around 40. Big play for Burnett. Middle Tennessee State brings it to the goal line, and then on 2nd and goal, Ignatius keeps it himself for a rushing touchdown. SMU made this game really close early, but Middle Tennessee State has scored 17 unanswered points to take a 24-6 lead late in the first half. Jet sweep from the freshman wide receiver Isaiah Thomas, one of the best players on this offense. He gets 11. Middle Tennessee State's defense would be able to hold SMU to a field goal. Still a pretty good drive for the Mustangs as the kick is good. So it hasn't been a total blowout here in the first half, but the Blue Raiders do look good as they lead this game 24-9 headed into the locker rooms. We'll see if they can have one more strong half, and if they do, it looks like the Blue Raiders will be back in the college football playoff for a 2nd straight year. 2nd and 3, handoff up the middle for Barrington Britt, who breaks a tackle. Britt breaks another one, still on his feet. He gets it all the way to the 21. A gain of 29 yards for Barrington Britt, who really is playing well right now for Middle Tennessee State, pretty close to 100 yards. The Blue Raiders offense would be stopped, so they'll have to kick a field goal as this kick is up and good. So it's now 27-9. The Blue Raiders back up by 3 possessions. SMU's offense has got to do something, and they've got to do something quick. 3rd and 9, a short throw for Prince Garrett. He only gets 8. Big tackle by the defense, leading to a 4th and 1. And again, why are they kicking? SMU does not have much to lose. Why not try to be aggressive? Why not try to make winning plays? SMU is playing not to lose, and because of that, they are losing. So Middle Tennessee State has it back up by 15 late here in the 3rd quarter, under a minute to go now. 2nd and 1, Ignatius looks to throw in, and he is sacked. The senior linebacker, Osmond Chetwood, brings him down. Chetwood is going to be an NFL draft pick this year, maybe even within the first couple of rounds. 3rd and 9, it's a screen for Barrington Britt with blocks. Britt off to the races. Touchdown, Middle Tennessee State. Barrington Britt has been so explosive today. He's been the best player on the field, quite frankly, as it's 34-12. SMU is a 4th down in the 4th quarter. They're finally going to go for it. See what happens when you're aggressive? Prince Garrett gets 12, keeping the drive going. Let's see if SMU can now punch it into the end zone. It's a 3rd and 8 for the Blue Raiders. Here is Volpe. Looks to throw it, and he connects at the tight end, Robert Cooley, for the touchdown, making it a 16-point game. They would miss the 2-point conversion, however, so it remains 34-18. Middle Tennessee State trying to ice this game once and for all, trying to get back into the college football playoff. Ignatius sends it deep, and it is caught for a big play by Nehemiah Dalton Jr. once again. Middle Tennessee State would not be able to score a touchdown, so they'll have to settle for a field goal. This to make it a 3-score game. The kick is good. And if this game wasn't already over, I think it's pretty much over. Middle Tennessee State up by 19 points. SMU trying to get another drive in here. Uman Volpe on 1st down is picked off. Eric Lilly with the interception, and this game is now definitely over. The Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders have punched their ticket to the college football playoff as they win it 37-26. 18. I was really impressed with Drake Ignatius. He was confident. He was comfortable making big-time throws. He had a few really good runs. Barrington Britt balled out. Nehemiah Dalton lived up to the hype. And then their defense did more than enough to win the game. SMU gave it a good fight. I wish they were a little bit more aggressive with their play calling, but Middle Tennessee State's a better team than these guys, flat out. So there you go. Middle Tennessee State back in the playoff for a second straight season. Next up, we've got the Pac-12 championship between Cal and Washington. This game is a good example of why I'm excited about the 12-team playoff as opposed to the 4-team playoff. If we still had a 4-team college football playoff, the winner of this game would go to the Rose Bowl, whoop-de-doo. But now the stakes are so much higher, and the winner of this game is going to the college football playoff, even if neither of these teams are completely deserving of it, with the Pac-12 being pretty weak this season. California comes into this game as the underdog, but I think head to toe they have the most talented roster in the Pac-12, and I've been saying that since the start of the year. The Golden Bears are playing their best football as of late. They've won 3 in a row, led by sophomore quarterback Rufus Motley. He's an inconsistent but talented player. Marquette Collins, the senior running back, is really good, and they've got a number of weapons in terms of the receiving core as well. They've got some really good players on the offensive line, including Omar Irons, who's going to be a first-round pick this year, and then their defense is really good. Troy Danham, Kobe Bryant, amongst the notable names. As for Washington, they come into this game being the favorites. They went 10-2 with some big wins late in the year against Arizona, and then demolishing Washington State in the Apple Cup to win the division. Senior quarterback Keontae Jordan leads the way. He's having himself a pretty good year. 31 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions. They've got a young group of skill position players headlined by senior wide receiver Anthony Kendrickson. He's going to be a high draft pick. And then their defense is really solid as well. They've got a good mix of pass rushers and talent in the secondary. They've got a really good cornerback duo. These are two really, really good defenses. Washington 7th in points per game allowed. Cal is 11th. And these are both two talented offenses as well. So although the winner of this game is probably going to be the worst team to get into the college football playoff, I still think both of these teams will absolutely be able to put up a fight. So the stakes are super, super high. Washington looks like the favorite going into this game, but if Cal wins, I really would not be all that surprised. Washington with the football early, 2nd and 10. Jordan with a screen for the sophomore running back, Ben Bones, breaking tackles. What a play after the catch by Bones, who gets 23 yards. Now on the goal line, can the Huskies punch it in first? And they give it back to Bones, who gets the touchdown to put Washington ahead 7-0. Unfortunately for Ben Bones, he would suffer an injury on the next drive, and his status to return is questionable. Cal has it back, but not for long. Rufus Motley is picked off. A big play in the secondary to grab the interception. That was Jason Bell who picked it off. So Washington has the ball back here on 1st down, and Keontae Jordan is smothered behind the line of scrimmage. Hyman Crawley leads the way. He's going to be an NFL player one day, and Washington would do nothing off the turnover. Cal looking to respond to the big run from Marquette Collins as he has the Golden Bears inside the 10-yard line. They would be unable to punch it in the end zone, so they're going to have to settle for a field goal instead. So Cal is on the board, but they still trail 7-3. Let's enter the second quarter following Cal possession. It's 3rd and 5. Motley is picked off again. This time it's Davis Slater who picks it off. Another future NFL player. Slater is only a sophomore, I believe. Really, really talented young kid. Again, Washington wouldn't do anything off the turnover, but with the field position, they'd be able to tack on a field goal to make it 10-3. Cal has it back, really trying to lean on Marquette Collins in the run game. Collins with another big run. He's currently projected probably as a 4th or 5th round pick in this year's draft. But if he keeps this up, his stock is going to rise. Cal would have to go for a field goal again after once again not being able to punch it into the end zone. So it's 10-6. A lot of field goals so far early in this game. On 3rd down, Keontae Jordan is sacked. Big play by the Cal defense who calls a timeout. And let's see what Washington can do here on their following possession after Cal would do nothing. Jordan with a shot downfield. It's picked off right at the end of the first half. So Cal's defense gets a turnover. Again, not that it really matters. Jordan was just launching a Hail Mary. But there you go. Low-scoring first half here. The Washington Huskies currently lead 10-6. Washington seems to be in slight control, but this game is definitely far from over. 2nd and 10. It's a screen for the backup running back, Jason Thornburg, with room. Thornburg in the red zone as he gets it to the 11. A huge play for Thornburg, stepping up with the absence of Ben Bones, who's been shaken up since the first drive of the game. Washington goes back to the screen. Nobody near Thornburg for the touchdown. A big set of plays there by Thornburg to make it 17-6. After another Cal stalled drive, Washington has it back. Big time throw from Jordan into the hands of Racer Fox, who gets 35. Couple plays later, play action here for Washington. Jordan goes downfield again, this time for Kendrickson, and he comes down with it for a touchdown. The senior Anthony Kendrickson, one of the best receivers in the country, puts Washington ahead by 3 scores. Cal's got to respond, and they are getting a nice little drive here, but Motley is sacked near the goal line for a loss of 7, and again, the Golden Bears are forced to kick a field goal, so that'll make it 24-9. It is a 2-score game now, but Cal's got a long way to go if they want to make a comeback here as we kick off the 4th quarter. 3rd and 4, Jordan looks to throw it, and he is picked off! Kobe Bryant with the interception, and he's going to take it to the house. Okay, this just got interesting. Has Cal put themselves back into the game? Kobe Bryant, one of the stars of this defense. He could be a 1st or 2nd round pick in just a couple of years with a huge play. Cal gonna go for 2, try to make it a clean 7-point game, and Motley stumbles in the end zone successfully. Cal's first touchdown ends up being a defensive one as it's 24-17. Washington's got to respond, but Jordan is sacked. Guess who it is? It's Kobe Bryant, who just had the pick 6 a moment ago with a huge defensive play for Cal. They'll get it back down by 7. Here's Rufus Motley with blocks out of bounds at the 20. Cal looked like they were out of it, down by 3 scores not even 5 minutes ago. And now they've got a real chance to tie this game, but they're backed up on a 3rd and 25 after a clipping penalty. Motley's going to take a shot downfield. It's caught by the tight end, Noah Pichette. Breaking tackles. He gets it all the way to the goal line. What a play by Pichette on 3rd and very long. And now Cal can punch it in and tie it up here in the 4th quarter, and they'll do just that. Rufus Motley keeps it himself, 24-24. We've got ourselves a ball game, folks. Washington thought they had it won, but not so fast. However, the Huskies do get the ball with an opportunity to drive down the field and take the lead. 3rd and 5, Jordan under pressure, and he lost it, but Washington recovers. That was Kobe Bryant again making another play. Kobe Bryant looks like a 1st-round pick right now. In this 4th quarter, he has 2 sacks, including this one, which was a fumble, and not to mention the pick 6 that put Cal back in the game. This is an all-time defensive performance right now from Kobe Bryant. So Cal can now take the lead with good field position. Here's Collins down the field, gets it to the 5. Everything is going Cal's way right now. A huge run for Marquette Collins. And now the Golden Bears can punch it in and look to take the lead. On 1st down, Motley keeps it himself, and that's a touchdown. What a comeback from the Cal Golden Bears, who were down 24-6 with 25 unanswered points, and they lead by 7. So now Washington has to respond on 1st down. First play at the drive is the only play at the drive that's picked off. Cal's defense with a huge play to put themselves in position to win the game. Jordan with his 3rd interception of the game. That time it was Rodney McNeil. That was the defensive dagger. How about an offensive dagger? Rufus Motley with his 3rd rushing touchdown in the past few minutes. This game is over. What a comeback from the California Golden Bears to shock the world and advance to the college football playoff in the most unlikely fashion. Cal was down 24-6 late in the 3rd quarter. This game looked over. However, the Golden Bears scored the final 32 points, 29 of which came in the 4th quarter. Now, Rufus Motley did not throw the ball well, but he played gutsy late in this game with 3 rushing touchdowns in the final few minutes. Marquette Collins was great as well. Now, this Cal team, they did not play a clean game of football, but you know what? They earned this win. They're going to the playoff. Shout out to Kobe Bryant. He was incredible. 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and most importantly, the pick 6. Without that play, Cal does not win the game. That was the biggest play of the day. Keontae Jordan, I thought, was pretty good. The turnovers weren't ideal, but, I mean, Washington couldn't really run the ball. I think Jordan was able to do all he could, so I don't really fault him for the loss. The defense was really good for 3 quarters, but then they let up, and they blew it. down the stretch. Their run defense looked like toast in the fourth quarter. So congratulations to Cal for punching a ticket in the college football playoff. Will Clemson and or Duke be joining them in the playoff? Let's find out here in the ACC Championship. Clemson's the number one team in the country. They're the only team this year to go undefeated. I think no matter what happens today, Clemson could lose by 100 and they'll still get in the playoff. But this game is still important for them for seeding. As for Duke, win and you're in. Lose and you're probably out. So the stakes are pretty simple here for the Blue Devils, who have to do something that nobody's done yet this year, and that's beat Clemson. Duke has been a really good team. They're 9-3. They don't really have many bad losses. And, of course, they've got a Heisman contender leading the way with quarterback Justin Tucker, currently in second place for the Heisman voting. He's been elite as a passer, dynamic as a runner. He's going to run for probably over 1,000 yards this year. Leads the team in rushing touchdowns. They've got some really good weapons, including Jabari Kruger, who has 17 scores. And their defense really isn't bad at all. They've got some ball players here, particularly in the secondary. They've got a really good cornerback duo with Khaled Neighbors and Wengland Wall. As for Clemson, they're undefeated. They're the best team in the country. They beat teams by like 30 points a game. I mean, this team is dominant. They are led by a Heisman contender of their own, that being quarterback Cade Hutchinson, the most efficient passer in the country. He's going to be the number one pick in the draft, likely to the Minnesota Vikings. So, Viking fans, get your popcorn. You're going to have a fun day, maybe. Kobe Henderson's an elite running back. Latrell McAllister is going to go in the first round. They've got really good receivers, and their defense is fantastic, too. I mean, this is the best roster in college football, I think, hands down. And they've got the best quarterback in the country, and a guy in Cade Hutchinson who very well could win the Heisman Trophy with a good performance today, out-dueling Justin Tucker. Clemson outscores their opponents 44-20 each game. They have the number one scoring offense, the number 3 scoring defense. This is the best team in college football, so Duke has their hands full. As you would expect, Clemson is the favorite. Pretty much everybody picked them in the pick'em, which really isn't a surprise, but Duke is a very good team, and they've got a Heisman-caliber quarterback in Justin Tucker. Let's see how good he is on the brightest of stages. Clemson with the ball early. Big run to start the game for Kobe Henderson. Henderson tore his Achilles last year, and he really didn't look like the same guy early in the season, but he's really played well the last 6 or so games. First and goal. Hutchinson trucks a defender on the read option. He is in for a touchdown. What a run by Cade Hutchinson. So Cade is chasing some milestones. He has 152 career passing touchdowns. Keep in mind the all-time FBS record is 155, set by Case Keenum. So Hutchinson's going to break that maybe today if he throws 4. Another good run by Henderson will once again position Clemson close to the end zone as Kobe Henderson will punch it in. And the Tigers are steamrolling so far. They lead 14-0. Up to this point, they look like the best team in the league. Duke's offense has to respond. Tucker with a great throw downfield, caught by Marcus McDaniels for a gain of 35. We have not really seen any big throws so far from Justin Tucker. And again, this could be his Heisman moment. I think if he wins this game, he's going to take home the trophy. Tucker finds McDaniels in the end zone for a touchdown, so the Blue Devils are on the board. It's 14-7. It's good to see Duke is going to play a competitive game and not completely roll over as we go to Duke's next possession. 2nd and 12. Tucker looks to throw it, and he is picked off. The true freshman, Aaron Campbell, picks it off for the Clemson defense. I mean, the Tigers are so loaded in every area of the defense. They've got a good front unit. Their secondary's really young and really talented. Obviously, all the attention goes to the offense, but they've got the number 3 scoring defense in college football. So Clemson has it back in the red zone. Hutchinson pitches it to nobody. It's a fumble, and it's picked up by Duke. Cade Hutchinson is one of the smartest kids you'll ever be around, but that was a boneheaded play by the senior quarterback. Cade Hutchinson, in his 4 years as a starter for Clemson, has not made many mistakes like that one. So both teams trade off turnovers. Both Heisman contending quarterbacks make a pretty bad play, and it's time for Duke to respond. McDaniels to the 26. So far, McDaniels has been the go-to guy, not Jabari Kruger, which is a little bit of a surprise. Kruger has 17 touchdowns. Duke is going to attack on 3, making it 14-10. So we'll see if Clemson's offense can respond late in the first half. Their offense hasn't done a whole lot here in this second quarter. Cade Hutchinson scrambles with it, and he is sacked. Duke really has a lot of the momentum right now. They're playing some great football. 3rd and 12 now. We'll see if Clemson can get a big play. They're trying to choose some clock. They don't want Duke to get the ball back with too much time. Normally, you would think they would run the ball, but that's not the case. Hutchinson's not only going to throw it, but he's going to take a shot downfield for Xavier Mayo, and he takes it all the way for an 81-yard touchdown. What a throw by Cade Hutchinson, looking like the #1 pick on that class, and Xavier Mayo makes a huge play. Time winding down here in the first half. It's a 2nd and 10. Clemson has the ball with 1 timeout. Hutchinson goes short for McAllister, who's unable to go out of bounds. So that means the clock is going to keep rolling. Instead of calling a timeout, Clemson's going to go no huddle. I don't get what this clock management is from the Tigers. They might only have time for 1 more play. On 3rd down, Hutchinson goes deep, and it's caught by Kyon Cordell for a touchdown at the buzzer. I really should not have doubted Cade Hutchinson and Clemson's clock management on that play. A huge touchdown for Cordell. He's a really young, blossoming star for this offense. Probably going to be their #1 receiver next year. That'll wrap up the first half. Things were looking up for Duke, but Clemson with 2 late, long touchdowns takes a 28-10 lead, and they had the ball early here in the 3rd. It's a screen for the backup running back, and he's going to break a tackle. That's Chukwuemokolo with a big play past the 40. So many guys on this Clemson offense are so dangerous with the ball in their hands. This is the deepest offense in the country. And yeah, there's definitely senior driven, but they've got a lot of young guys who are really good as well. Here's Hutchinson, breaks a tackle, subtly strikes for Heisman pose as he goes into the end zone for a touchdown. This game has to be Cade Hutchinson's Heisman moment. I mean, he is dominating against fellow Heisman contender Justin Tucker and Duke. Clemson would get the ball shortly after. They would score again. This time it's Kobe Henderson, and it's now 42-10. This game has turned into an all-out blowout. The Clemson Tigers look like the runaway #1 seed going into the college football playoff. Duke's got to show something here. Their chances of making the playoff is looking really slim. But hey, Justin Tucker now holds the most passing yards in a single season in Duke history. So I guess that's pretty cool on that pass to Marcus McDaniel. McDaniel's really the only skill position player on this Duke offense who's shown up today. 3rd and 8. Tucker is sacked for a loss of 3. Gaston Millard Jr., the senior defensive end, brings him down. Millard is pretty raw, but he looked good on that play. 4th and 11. Tucker's obviously got to look for the end zone, and it is broken up, incomplete. Receiver got a hand on it, but the safety, Alec Padfield, ripped it away. That's all she wrote. Clemson dominates Duke. They win it 42-10. Cade Hutchinson did not break the passing touchdown all-time record, but he did look like the real deal. 17 of 24, 270 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also ran for a couple scores as well. 151 rushing yards on the ground for Cade. Kobe Henderson was great. Xavier Mayo balled out. Mayo's draft stock isn't all that high, but, I mean, with performances like this going into the college football playoff, you got to assume his stock is going to creep up. Clemson's defense really impressed me against a really good Duke offense, and they looked overmatched. I don't think Justin Tucker was horrible. He didn't have a lot of bad plays, but he didn't look like a Heisman-type player. Now, obviously, Justin Tucker's still going to finish very high in the Heisman voting. He certainly deserves to. But in his biggest game of the season, he really did not take a step up like Cade Hutchinson did. So congratulations to Clemson for clinching a playoff spot, although we kind of already saw that coming. Next up, I think the most anticipated game of the day, the Big Ten championship between the Oregon Ducks and the Ohio State University. This is the only game where I feel confident that both teams will get into the playoff. Obviously, the winner of this game will get one of the auto bids, and I think the winner of this game probably gets the #2 seed, but the loser is certainly good enough to still get in. I mean, Ohio State's ranked #3, Oregon's ranked #4. The Ducks have only lost by a combined total of 5 points, and their 2 losses to USC and then Notre Dame in overtime. The Ducks have been so good this year. Their offense is so explosive. Barrett Cherokee is one of the most fun players to watch in college football. Noel Hilaire, at one point in time, looked like the Heisman favorite. Kind of slowed down, but he was still really good. They've got a plethora of receivers, but the defense is really what has set last year's team apart compared to this year. Last year, Oregon won the Pac-12 and they won the Rose Bowl, but they didn't live up to expectations, I feel like, because their defense underwhelmed. This year, their defense was a lot better, and, well, they're 10-2, going to probably make the college football playoff. Ohio State is 11-1, minus a hiccup to Wisconsin. They've been pretty much perfect. They've played against 4 ranked teams this year and smothered all 4 of them in blowouts. Marco Brunley is an unconventional quarterback. He's not the most efficient, but he definitely gets the job done and could be a sneaky Heisman contender. Mookie Davis, Auden Green, and Chaz Suggs lead a great offense, but this team is led by the defense. One of the best defenses in college football for sure. Their front unit is great. I think their corner, Jameer Jefferson Jr., is the best defensive player in college football. So I think the winner of this game is probably going to get the number 2 seed in the playoff behind Clemson. The loser's still certainly going to get in anyways. But going back to Ohio State real quick, I think they match up with Clemson as the 2 best teams in the country. I mean, Ohio State outscores their opponents by 25 points a game. I'm pretty sure that's even more than Clemson, if I'm not mistaken. So these Buckeyes are dominant. Ohio State's the slight favorite here, although the pick'em seems to be leaning towards Oregon. So we'll see if the Ducks can beat Ohio State and win the Big Ten championship in their first season in the Big Ten. The Ducks start with the ball. Here's the junior quarterback, Barrett Cherokee, with room to run. Cherokee on the second play of the game with a 50-plus yard run as he's shoestring tackled at the 25 by Jameer Jefferson, the likely future top 5 pick in this year's upcoming draft. Oregon now has it on the goal line. 1st and goal here for the Ducks. Not even a minute into the possession. Cherokee keeps it himself, walks in the end zone for a touchdown. Ohio State is the best defense in the country, and Oregon's offense just ran right through them here within the first minute of the game. The Buckeyes look to respond, but not on this drive. Burnley is sacked by Spencer Gotham, the veteran linebacker. That would force a punt, and the Ducks get it back. So far, so good early in this game here for Oregon. 3rd and 10. Cherokee loses the football, and it's picked up by Benjamin Trevino, the pass rusher from Ohio State. Freshman cornerback Steve Stifler was the one who forced it away. A big turnover for Ohio State, who needed to get some momentum because this game really did not start off well for the Buckeyes. 1st and goal, nobody's going to touch Marco Burnley. He will walk into the end zone for a touchdown. Oregon looked great early, but the Buckeyes respond with a huge turnover and a touchdown. Now in the second quarter, tied at 7. Ohio State with the ball, 3rd and 2. Marco Burnley keeps it himself. The senior quarterback, he's a big, physical runner, showing it on that play as he gets the first down. Now 3rd and goal here for the Buckeyes. Can they punch it in? It's a handoff to the star running back, Mookie Davis, and he is in for a touchdown as the Ohio State University takes a 14-7 lead here against the Ducks. Oregon's offense looked great on that first drive, but it has gone downhill since then. We'll see what Barrett Cherokee can do as he gets a nice run. Cherokee has ran it really well. He's one of the best rushing quarterbacks in the country, but he hasn't really thrown it all that well today. Ohio State has the best secondary in the country, and so far they look like the best secondary in the country. First down, Cherokee goes for the end zone in double coverage, and it's picked off. Steve Stifler, who had the strip sack earlier, comes down with the interception. That was a really bad read by Cherokee. What are you doing throwing into double coverage on first down, nonetheless? So everything seems to be going Ohio State's way these past couple of minutes, but they don't start the drive off well. Burnley loses 6, wrapped up by Rayalik Akintola. So Ohio State would do nothing on the drive as Oregon has it back. 3rd and 3 here for the Ducks. Looking to find the end zone again, tie this one up. Cherokee looks to throw it, and he is picked off again. It's Steve Stifler once more with his 3rd turnover in the first half. This guy's only a freshman, making a juggling catch. Did he keep possession of the football? I think he did. What a game for Stifler. 2 interceptions and a strip sack. He is unbelievable. However, Oregon picks it off on the first play of the new drive for Ohio State. True freshman cornerback Nick Sutton is the one to make the play. Both teams trading off turnovers, and we've got 2 of the highest scoring offenses in college football, and this has been a full-on defensive battle. I'm not surprised Ohio State's defense is playing this well, but Oregon, their defense, for the most part, has been pretty good. 3rd and 18 for the Buckeyes. Another sack from the Ohio State defense. Take a guess who it is. Steve Stifler, his 2nd of the game. This guy is all over the field. Number 22 has been the best player on this field tonight. 14-7 going into half. Pretty low-scoring game. The Buckeyes currently on top as Oregon has it here early in the third. They're moving it down the field. Cherokee with it. Doesn't get much. Lost a yard. Guess who it is again? Steve Stifler, who brings him down. Cherokee's not throwing the ball anywhere near Jameer Jefferson, so he hasn't been talked about. And Stifler is completely taking this game by storm. Another sack, this time by Hercules Oceanus, a projected first-round defensive tackle in this year's draft class. Oregon looking to take the field goal. The kick is good, so the Ducks are finally back on the board. They haven't scored since the first minute of the game. 14-10. Can the Buckeyes respond? Yes, they will. A long pass from Burnley into the hands of Chaz Suggs, and he'll take it all the way for a 76-yard touchdown score. And the Ohio State Buckeyes lead 21-10. Oregon's got to respond. Second down. Cherokee looks to throw it, runs with it, loses it, and it's picked up by Ohio State. You want to take a guess who forced the fumble? It was Steve Stifler yet again. 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 2 fumble forces, and 2 interceptions. I mean, my goodness, is Steve Stifler special. So the Buckeyes are going to drive down the field a little bit. They'll tack on 3 points, and they make it 24-10 off of the field goal. So Oregon has it back, 2nd and 1. Cherokee short throw, hold in. Good play after the catch to the 15-yard line by Porter. Oregon's offense back in the red zone. Can they score a touchdown here? 1st and goal. Good opportunity to make it a 1-possession game now in the 4th quarter. And Noel Hilaire will walk it in for a touchdown, 24-17. The Ducks make it a 1-score game, but their defense has got to get a stop. I think their defense has been pretty good today, but they've got to do something here. 2nd and 8. Mookie Davis runs for a first down. That's your ball game, folks. The Ohio State University has won the Big Ten. The Buckeyes are going back to the college football playoff. So we have now had 5 teams punch their tickets. Ohio State, Clemson, Cal, Middle Tennessee State, and Oklahoma. I don't think Oregon played bad enough to where they're not going to get in. I just think Ohio State's really, really good. I mean, Margot Burnley was pretty impressive. Mookie Davis ran the ball well. Chaz Suggs had some big plays in the pass game. But the story of this one for Ohio State was the defense. Their defense was brilliant today, per usual. As I've said, Ohio State is the best defense in the country, and they looked the part in this game against a really explosive Oregon offense who had that really good first drive earlier, but then did nothing the rest of the way. Steve Stifler, obviously the star of the show, 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions, 2 fumble forces. Did I mention this kid's a freshman? Yeah, he's a superstar. And I mean, him and Jameer Jefferson are just unbelievable. Jefferson, we didn't say his name a whole lot because Oregon didn't throw the ball his way, and I don't really blame Oregon because Jameer Jefferson is locked down. Barrett Cherokee did not throw the ball well. Now, luckily for Cherokee, he's so explosive on the ground, and he certainly used that to his advantage today. The Oregon offense certainly did not play up to par, and maybe other teams are going to follow the blueprint that the Ohio State defense provided today. Oregon finishes 10-3. I think they're going to get into the playoff, but they may have dropped in seeding a little bit behind some of the other 2-loss teams like Michigan and Florida. So now we get to the Big 12 championship, Missouri and TCU. This is the game I'm most personally excited about because I feel like TCU, going into this game, they feel like the favorite, and for good reason. TCU is a great team. Even if they lose, there's a good shot they still make the playoff. But I think people are really sleeping on Missouri. I think the Tigers are a really, really good football team. I would not be surprised one bit if Missouri wins this game, and I would not be surprised one bit if Missouri does really well in the college football playoff if they get in. Missouri has not lost since week 4. Their only 2 losses are at TCU and at Ohio State. Now, the argument against Missouri is they haven't really beaten anybody. The 2 really good teams they've played, they lost to. I mean, West Virginia's ranked, but, I mean, they're not that special. So, Missouri hasn't beaten anybody outstanding, but I could see that changing today. Latavius Merrington has had an unbelievable season. He went from playing in the FCS last year to being a fringe Heisman contender. They've got some really good players on this offense. Tyler Maxwell, statistically, has been one of the best receivers in the country. Gregory Atkinson, the true freshman tight end, he's a star. Missouri's defense is solid. I really like their secondary. Jamison Anderson's going to be a first-round pick at corner. And then TCU, they, going into the year, didn't have much expectations, but they took the Big 12 by storm. They did lose a game late to Oklahoma State, but they have some big wins against teams like Baylor, Alabama, Texas, Houston, Missouri. Going into the season, TCU made the shocking decision of not starting Cade Brown, who was their starter last year, and instead going with Sterling Yorkshire, and it has completely paid off. Yorkshire is a Heisman candidate. Mario Homler, the tight end, is a star. Harry Stewart at running back is a star. But TCU, I think, is a defense-first team. They've got so many good pass rushers, so many players in the secondary. TCU has the best defense in the Big 12, although in terms of scoring, Missouri is just 0.1 points behind it. They actually allow less yards than TCU per game. I think TCU has more big-time players on their defense, but Missouri's got some dogs on that side of the ball too. So I think this is going to be a really evenly matched game, even though TCU on paper, I mean, you look at the record, you think they're better, but Missouri stacks up with them statistically. TCU does get to play at home. I think that gave them a real advantage in the pick'em, as you can see. TCU the favorite here, but it does seem like some people have faith in Missouri, as do I. So TCU starts the ball. 3rd and 21 here for the Horned Frogs. Yorkshire looks to throw it here, has time, dances in the pocket, and launches a strike in the back of the end zone. Mario Homler, the All-American tight end, who's been the best tight end in the country, arguably this season, makes it 7-0. Missouri with the ball. Merrington is dragged to the ground for a loss of 7 by Chaz Fogel. So far, so good early in the first quarter here for the Horned Frogs. Is on 2nd down. It's a short pass for Harry Stewart, the sophomore running back who really has broken out this season. In the TCU offense, he gets a nice gain. TCU now on the goal line. 1st and goal. Stewart walks it in for a touchdown. TCU looks pretty damn good so far. They lead 14-0. Remember, since this is a Power 5 conference, the winner gets an automatic bid into the playoff. Don't forget. Missouri with it back, 2nd and inches. Merrington with a nice strike up the middle. That's Tyler Maxwell, the superstar receiver with a big play. Missouri has a nice little drive going. They should be able to score here. 3rd and 3. Merrington is picked off. Cody Harris, the linebacker, with the interception. Right when Missouri finally gets some mojo going on offense, they turn over the ball. A huge play by the TCU defense. I know it's early, but I might have been a little bit wrong about this Missouri team. The Horned Frogs are steamrolling through them. On 1st down, here's Harry Stewart up the middle with a nice gain. TCU hasn't had any super big plays, but they're just moving the ball down the field very efficiently. Even on 1st and goal, nobody covers Mario Homler. That seems like a really stupid idea, but it goes for a touchdown, and TCU is dominating the Missouri Tigers right now. They lead 21-0. Missouri's got to answer here on 1st down. Merrington with a nice scramble, and he will get it to around the 25-yard line. With only 2 losses, Missouri does have a chance at getting an at-large bid with the committee voting them in, but if they keep playing like this, it's not going to happen. They do finally get a touchdown here with a screen. The running back, Bentley Maurice, makes the play, so it's 21-7. TCU still looking good, but on 3rd down, Yorkshire is sacked. Salufe Giuboro is there with the play. Missouri's starting to look a lot better. They really looked rough early, down 21-0, but it seems like the Tigers have turned a corner, got themselves back in the game. Bentley Maurice, the running back, with another touchdown off of a screen. Don't look now, but Missouri's back in the game. They cannot afford to get blown out, because that could be the difference between them getting an at-large bid and them not getting in. Obviously, they still are going to try to win this game and not have to worry about that. But if they're not going to cover Mario Homler, I don't know if that's going to happen. TCU now on the goal line. 1st and goal. Back to Stewart. And he will walk down the red carpet for a touchdown. So after allowing 2 scores and getting Missouri back in the game, TCU adds a touchdown here before halftime. Pretty good start for the Horned Frogs. They look really, really good. 28-14. So far, TCU is definitely passing the eye test here in this game. Missouri, not so much, although the Tigers are playing a little better. Good run there by Merrington, breaking away from the pocket. Missouri would bring it all the way to the goal line here. It's a 3rd and goal. Merrington keeps it himself for a touchdown, and Missouri's really making this game interesting. The Tigers are only down by 7. Their defense has got to wake up. Their offense has woken up. The defense, not so much. They've got to make a play sooner or later, but TCU's running the ball super efficiently right now. Good play by Harry Stewart. TCU driving it all the way to the goal line. 1st and goal, looking to make it a 2-score game late in the 3rd. And they will once again with Harry Stewart. Another score for the sophomore running back. And TCU is back up by 2 possessions, 35-21. TCU has the football back after a stop on defense. Looking to make it a 3-score game once again. Yorkshire downfield, good throw. And it's hauled in by Jason Bell, the wide receiver who gets it past the 30-yard line. TCU would be unable to do anything on the drive after that, but with the good field position, they would try to kick a field goal, but it's no good. So the kick is offline. It remains a 2-score game. Missouri's got to take advantage, but not on that play, as Marionton is sacked by Big Perk Thorncraw. His real name, Perkins Thorncraw, but his friends refer to him as Big Perk. Missouri going for a field goal, and they do not get it. So both teams trade off missed field goals as we now advance to the fourth quarter. TCU 1 quarter away of advancing to the college football playoff. Can they finish off the game as Yorkshire runs for a first down? TCU now in the red zone. 2nd and goal. Yorkshire again is in for a touchdown. I think it's a little too late for Sterling Yorkshire to really make some Heisman noise, but my God, has he played well today. Marrington on 2nd down is sacked for a loss of yardage. It's Maurice Spence, his 2nd of the game, bringing him down. 4th and 14, Missouri's got to go for it, down by 21. This is pretty much the game, essentially. Latavius Marrington going to take a shot downfield, and he way overthrows his target. Missouri would get the ball back after getting a defensive stop, but they don't have a lot of time. 3rd and 23 from the 24. Marrington with a strike for the end zone. It's caught by B.J. Raymond for the touchdown. So it's 42-28. Missouri would get the ball back late. Marrington looks to take a shot downfield, and it is caught by Raymond, who will get 66 yards, the longest offensive play in this game from either team. 2nd and 10 now. Marrington looks to throw it, and it is picked off in the back of the end zone. This game officially over. The senior safety, Lyle Callaghan, picks it off. TCU wins 42-28, and the Horned Frogs will take the auto bid by winning the Big 12. So that means the Horned Frogs are going to the college football playoff. Will Missouri be joining them? I don't really know. The Tigers didn't play a bad game today, but I don't know if Missouri looked deserving of a top 12 spot with it being a 12-team college football playoff. I do give Missouri credit for fighting back after really struggling early, down 21-0. But even so, it felt like TCU was in control from start to finish at this game. Sterling Yorkshire, 27 for 29. My goodness, was he efficient. Not a ton of big throws, but he didn't miss any. 2 touchdowns in the air, 1 on the ground. Harry Stewart ran for 3 as well. He also had 11 catches. Harry Stewart really doing everything today. Mario Hamler was great, not just as a receiver, but also a blocker. TCU with 6 sacks on defense and 2 interceptions. Really good performance by the defense, punching their ticket to the playoff. And the final game of the day, the MAC championship between Buffalo and Central Michigan. The stress level isn't really as high because there's a good chance we won't be seeing either of these teams in the playoff. I mean, Buffalo has 4 losses, so they're not going to get in. Central Michigan could have gotten in with a win and Middle Tennessee lost. Since Middle Tennessee State won, that's not going to happen. I guess Central Michigan could still get an at-large spot, but, I mean, are you really going to vote a MAC team in with 2 losses? I don't know about that. However, I still think this is going to be a really fun game. Even if there's not college football playoff implications, both of these teams have future NFL players, and they have really fun stories. Buffalo started the year 1-4 with their only win coming against, ironically, Washington. In Washington. That's kind of weird. After that, though, Buffalo has won 7 in a row. They're one of the hottest teams in the country. They've got a solid offense with a sophomore quarterback in Allen Arnold. They've got a really good running back with Jerron Bellamy. But the story of this team is their defense. They've got multiple NFL caliber pass rushers. Junior Francis Bola-Kamoa is going to be a first-round pick next year. 30 tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks. Jarrell DeLoach is going to be a high draft pick. Slim Saxon's only a freshman. He's fantastic. So Buffalo's got one of the best pass rushers in the country. As for Central Michigan, they're 10-2. They only lost 2 games, one of which was to Middle Tennessee State. They beat Southern Miss. They have some good wins on their schedule, but a loss late in the year to Ball State really killed off any realistic shot of them making the college football playoff. But they are still a really good team, one of the best Group 5 teams in the country. Jason Perez at quarterback and Lucas Hauser at running back lead the way. Tyler Harris is an All-American tight end. John Baskerville is a really good receiver. And then Blake Nelson has 8.5 sacks, which is one of the highest totals in the conference. So I think this is going to be a fun game. Central Michigan's ranked. They're number 23. They've been very consistent throughout the entire year. And then you've got Buffalo, who's won 7 in a row with 3 guys on their defensive line who are probably going to be top 100 picks when it's all said and done, including Francis Bola-Kamoa, who I think will open next year as a projected top 5 to 10 pick. Central Michigan seems to be the favorite with the pick'em, but I mean, you guys are showing a little respect to Buffalo, and I think the Bulls are a pretty tough team. I could see this game going either way here at Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan, home of the Lions, the only championship that will be won in this building this season. Let's see which team it'll end up being. Buffalo opens up with the football. It's a handoff to the junior running back, Jerron Bellamy, with room. Bellamy down the field, brings it past midfield. A big start to the game from the University of Buffalo offense. Obviously, their defense and their pass rush is really their identity, but they've got a young and talented group on the offensive side of the ball. On third down, it's Richard Nixon who impeaches his way to the end zone. Flood the water gates because Buffalo is on the board first, 7-0. Here's the Central Michigan offense led by senior quarterback Jason Perez. He's picked off. Allen Hooper with the interception, and he'll take it for a pick six. Not the most famous Hooper in this city. The Pistons mascot is named Hooper. But right now, Allen Hooper, the star of the show defensively. Buffalo leads 14-0. Following Buffalo drive, 3rd and 9, it's a screen pass here for Bellamy, stumbling backwards for a loss of 7. That could knock them out of field goal range. Big play by a Central Michigan defense who needed to get something going because so far the Central Michigan Chippewas are getting clobbered. The kick would be no good, so maybe Central Michigan can get something going. They're only down by 2 scores. They're certainly not out of the game, even though they've played horribly. Perez with a nice throw downfield for the All-American tight end Tyler Harris with over 1,000 yards. He has been one of the best players at his position in the country. Now in the second quarter, play action fake, throw in the back of the end zone. It's caught by John Baskerville, and the Chippewas are on the board. It's now 14-7. Buffalo with it back. Good throw to the sticks. That's the tight end, Vinny Gregorio, another guy who had over 1,000 yards this season, making the play. Buffalo would have a nice little drive down the field. They would not be able to punch in a 3rd and short situation, so they'll have to kick a field goal, and the Bulls are back up by 2 scores, 17-7. Central Michigan with it, 1st and 10. Perez looking for the sideline, and he's picked off again. All 11 passes Perez has thrown have been caught. 9 by his team and 2 by the other. James Tremblay picks it off. Buffalo marching down the field looking to punch it in here on 1st and goal. Alan Arnold with a short throw, and it is caught by Steve Justice for the score. So Buffalo is now back up by 3 scores, 24-7. Central Michigan's got to respond here late in the first half. 2nd and 2. Perez looks to throw it, and he will connect short. That's the backup running back, Cedric Mayhew, and he takes it all the way to the end zone for a touchdown. Great play after the catch by Mayhew, and that'll bring us to halftime. Buffalo looks the part. They lead 24-14. This looks like a team who's won 7 in a row. Central Michigan starting to play a little bit better. We'll see what they can do in the second half as Perez goes downfield. Great throw and great catch as that one is hauled in by Hood to the 15-yard line. Central Michigan really moving quickly, going with a no huddle. They would not be able to find the end zone, so they'll have to settle for a field goal. 4th and goal at the 1. You should have punched that in. I mean, similar issues to what we were talking about with SMU earlier today. Got to be more aggressive. Buffalo unable to do anything on that drive as Arnold is sacked by Jeff Williams. So Central Michigan gets the stop, and the Chippewas return on offense with a chance to tie the game here still in the 3rd quarter. 2nd and 11. Perez with a shot downfield. It's caught inside the 5. And then on 1st and goal, Lucas Hauser scores the touchdown. That'll put Central Michigan back within 1 point, and then the extra point ties it. 24-24. Central Michigan playing a lot better, and Buffalo's offense still really is not getting anything going in the second half. The defensive tackle, Fat Buff, brings him down on the sack. Central Michigan with the ball back, they bring it all the way down to the goal line now in the 4th quarter as Jason Perez would be sacked. I told you this Buffalo pass rush is pretty darn good. They had like 4 guys swarm the backfield. Now Central Michigan will still be able to kick the field goal. If they make this, they'll take their first lead of the day. Buffalo was up 24-7, and since then, Central Michigan has scored 20 unanswered points. And that's not even the craziest comeback we've seen today. Shout out to Callan Washington. 3rd and 11, Arnold goes short for Justice, who does not get much. Quickly wrapped up by the Central Michigan defense. And then Buffalo chooses to punt it. And not only that, but they're chewing clock. Buffalo, keep in mind, is losing by 3. I get if you don't want to go for it, even though I disagree. But why are you chewing clock? I'm so confused. What are they trying to do? Do they think they're winning? Do they think that says 34 points? I don't get it. I mean, what is the game plan from Buffalo? And now Central Michigan just needs a first down to end the game, and that's what they get with Lucas Hauser. So Central Michigan wins the MAC championship 24-27, outscoring Buffalo 20-0 in the final 2.5 quarters. Buffalo was great early, but Central Michigan was dominant in the second half, particularly defensively. Looking at the box score, Allen Arnold I thought was solid. Not a lot of big throws, but again, he didn't really miss too many passes. I thought he had a pretty good game, and I'm intrigued to see what he'll be able to do as a junior and a senior. Jerron Bellamy was really good. None of their receivers really stuck out, but they spread the ball well. Their defense was pretty good. Their pass rush, of course, very solid. Francis Kamoa, the star of the show, with 4 tackles, 1 for a loss. Nothing too crazy, but certainly not bad. Then on the other side, I was really impressed with Jason Perez. He did have the 2 interceptions, but he was really good, as was Lucas Hauser, 111 rushing yards and a touchdown. Hauser also very productive in the pass game, 6 catches for 55 yards, and then their defense was shut down in the second half, which ultimately guides them to the win. Fat Buff with 3 sacks, 3 TFLs. Maybe his draft stock takes a big rise. I mean, he certainly played really well, particularly in the second half. So there you go. Those are our 7 conference championships. We have 6 tickets punched to the playoffs. Oklahoma, Middle Tennessee State, California, Clemson, Ohio State, and TCU are all going to the college football playoff. They will be the top 6 seeds, and you guys will get to determine the order in which they are seeded. You guys will also get to determine the other 6 teams in the college football playoff as well, who will be getting the at-large bids. How this voting process is going to work is in the next episode, I will sort of go down everybody's resume, and you'll be able to look at that. Here are all of the players of the week. Certainly some deserving names. Kobe Bryant from California was a star. Steve Stifler from Ohio State was unbelievable today. Darion Seals from Oklahoma was great. Certainly some star-level performances by all these guys. So that's going to wrap up the episode. Next time around, as I said, we will sort of go down the voting process. You'll be able to vote for seeding in the college football playoff. You'll be able to vote who gets in, who gets out. You'll be able to vote for all the big-time awards as well, including the Heisman Trophy. So make sure to keep your notifications on tab for that. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Peace out.